Give it a bit. Da, 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 da. Here we go. All right, we're going live. Awesome, awesome. Okay, welcome everybody. We are live on YouTube and live on Facebook. So today, what we're going to be covering is generally the principle of what is the top way to stimulate your vagus nerve as of right now, as of today. What's the best product that you can get your hands on to start stimulating your vagus nerve? We're going to cover that. We're going to start with the best first, so hang out for a second. But before we do that, we always start these videos off with a simultaneous squeeze, which is a Valsalva maneuver, which is going to help activate your vagus nerve, prime you for a state of learning, so that this won't be another video that you just zone in at and out of. You'll be able to be fully here and present in the moment. So you're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to take a sip of air at the very top, fill your lungs up. Then you're going to hold that air in, and then you're going to squeeze really tight with your stomach, your diaphragm, and your psoas muscle, like you're exhaling into a balloon, like those muscles, but you're going to keep your mouth completely shut and retain all that air. That's going to squeeze your vagus nerve, and it's going to release a bunch of acetylcholine into your vagus nerve, and it's going to calm you down. So it's a good way to get kind of high. It's a great time of the day, 5 p.m. Pacific, to get a little more in that calm state of mind. It's the end of the day. We're trying to round out the long, stressful day, okay? So here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Take a deep breath in. Take a sip of air at the top. Hold and squeeze. And then slowly exhale. Just like that. Good. And nice. Very good. Very nice feeling. We're very relaxed now. And our vagus nerve is like, woo, feeling really good. So what we're going to talk about today is the absolute best of the best when it comes to stimulating your vagus nerve. What I want to do here is start with the best of the best first, and then descend down the list. So the very, very first top thing that you can start doing to stimulate your vagus nerve is going to be using a custom in-ear, let me write this out, custom in-ear vagus nerve stimulation system. And the link for that is here. So we're going to type that in the chat. We're going to drop that here. Boom, boom, and boom. And that would be the custom in-ear vagus nerve stimulation system. And I'm going to put some pictures about what that looks like in the chat. So hopefully this will work. I prepared some videos for us today. So we've got a couple of image, or I guess, how would I say, GIFs in the chat of what we're looking at. So cool. These videos work great. So how this works is, first and foremost, to get the best vagus nerve stimulation system available in the world, first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a scan of your ear with your phone. And you can see a video of that, how that process works, in the chat here on Facebook. And you can see them scrolling and moving that around. That's going to create a 3D scan of your ear. Then what our team is going to do, the team behind this product, is that they're going to 3D print a custom scan of your ear and then fit an ultrasound transducer into that 3D scan. And then that's going to be something that you literally just fit in your ear, and it's going to stimulate directly right on your vagus nerve. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about, how do I do this properly? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Etc. It's just going to be super crystal clear, and there's going to be no uncertainty about how to do it. So that is the absolute top of the line option for people to go ahead and stimulate their vagus nerve. I'm going to share a picture of what this represents. This is called Project Lotus. Project Lotus. And Project Lotus is a project called Low Intensity Ultrasound. Low intensity ultrasound is a fantastic way to stimulate your vagus nerve. It's something that we've been doing for years now, for about 6 years. And finally, this has culminated after this many years in a product that is literally just about the size, no bigger than your ear, that actually just slots right in and fits right over your ear. We actually have a number of people out in the field today using this product. The feedback has been tremendous so far. People are loving this. It is by far the most incredible VNS available on the market today. If you want to join Project Lotus, we have custom in-ear scanning people available. They'll help you set this up. They'll get a scan of your ear. Then they're going to 3D print a vagus nerve stimulator system for you today. You can join right now. You can also opt in for expedited shipping so that as soon as you submit your in-ear scan, we have 30 days to get that printed and sent to you so you have your own custom device in hand immediately. You can opt in for advanced shipping within 30 days of submitting your in-ear device, your in-ear scan. And you can check a box at the very bottom of the page to get rush delivery no matter where you are. We'll make sure we expedite it and get that shipped out immediately. If you're international, we have to allow some extra time for customs, but we will still get it out of the door within that 30-day period. So I'll put the link for that here in the chat, and that would be here for, join Project Lotus today. Join by visiting us here and learning more about in-ear ultrasound VNS. Boom. Boom. Good. All right, cool. So that's in the chat there, and then I'll put that in the chat here as well on YouTube. Oh, it looks like I didn't copy everything, but yeah. So you can get started with ultrasound-assisted mindfulness. It's the best way to stimulate your vagus nerve. That is absolutely, out of all of the options you have today, going to be the best of the best. So if you want nothing less than the best, then go with ultrasound VNS. Now, let's talk about the second best option for VNS. The second best option for people to get vagus nerve stimulation is going to be our phase 2 program. And let me get that up here. So phase 2 join. I believe I got to find the exact link. Apparently I don't have that memorized. I thought it was phase 2, but I have to confirm that. Yeah, phase 2. Here it is. Where is this? Maybe I didn't complete it. Sorry, gotta find the page for it. Okay, it looks like I haven't completed the page for phase 2 yet. I guess that is something that I need to do. But we basically have what's called a phase 2 program, and that is basically an ultrasound system for neuromodulation. Let's just say that. So it's the form of VNS that is the most powerful, that is cervical and body based. Phase 3 is in ear. Phase 2 is the whole rest of your body. And then phase 1, you can start with either phase 1 or phase 2, depending on your vagus nerve needs. Good. Boom. All right, so cool. Then the next best option, if you don't want to go for a custom-made in-ear vagus nerve stimulator, is going to be joining our phase 1 program, which is arguably much more affordable and more in-depth in terms of coaching. We really give you a lot of one-on-one attention in the phase 1 program because we want people to be able to lift themselves up out of a chronic illness. So phase 1 is an absolutely fantastic place to start, especially if you are completely new to anything vagus nerve related. So we're going to put the link there. Now you can also join our private ultrasound group from that link. So we do have another Facebook group that's much smaller, that's much more tailored to just discussions about ultrasound vagus nerve stimulation. So you'll find a lot of this information in that private, smaller Facebook group here called Ultrasound Vagus Nerve Stimulation. So you can join that as well. That's available today. But yeah, so as far as the best options for VNS, ultrasound is always going to take the cake. Ultrasound is always going to be the best of the best. Now let's talk about non-ultrasound options, and let's go to the next in the line, which is electrical stimulation. It really, for electrical stimulation, it absolutely depends on your specific condition. But let's say, for instance, that you wanted something like microtransponder Vivistim. Like I said, guys, it really does truly depend on the type of condition that you have. But there's a lot of good options. I'll put something here in the chat, which might be a cool picture for you. I don't know. No, that's not going to work. There's this beautiful picture that I'm trying to get, and I don't know why it's not. Well, let me try. I'm going to copy the image address and put it here. Maybe there can be a picture here. I don't know. Let's see how it loads in the Facebook chat. Yeah, so there, well, it doesn't show the whole thing, but so this is for a product called the microtransponder. This is paired VNS therapy. It gives people a 2 to 3 times more hand and arm function compared to rehab alone. It has a 98% of user satisfaction when they do paired vagus nerve stimulation with rehab. And it's the first and only FDA-approved stroke rehabilitation option using vagus nerve stimulation. So I'll put that here in the chat. That's from Microtransponder. Like I said, really for assessing a VNS device, it really does depend on what you specifically need. Then there is the option for en.t VNS therapy. Sorry, I need to get this website here. No, etvnstherapy.com. This is right. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so the other option that we have, which I think is really good, is called used to be called the Nemos device. I'm going to paste that here in the chat. The other option for you is a non-implanted version of a vagus nerve stimulator. That's going to be from a company called TVNS Therapy. This is called the TVNS L as in Lima, and it is approved for the treatment of the following indications: anxiety, asthma, atrial fibrillation, autism, cognitive impairment, Crohn's disease, depression, epilepsy, fibromyalgia, inflammation, migraines, Parkinson's, sleeping disorders, stroke, and tinnitus. It has minimal side effects. It's a remote delivery, non-surgical intervention. It's an innovative technology. It has pediatric flexibility, so it can be used in children aged 3 and over, and it has a more controlled lifespan or more controlled life. It's easy to use. It's the most the most comfortable electrical VNS device that exists today. And so it used to be called the Nemos. You've heard me probably say the word Nemos quite a few times. This is the Nemos Serbomed. So formerly known as the Nemos by Serbomed. That was the German company name prior to this. So they're now owned by a German and a Turkish company. So there's a little bit of Turkish on there, but not to worry. That device is top of the line, absolutely top of the line. I really do like that device specifically. Then as far as other options, there's okay, so now we've exhausted electrical stimulation for top devices. Like I said, we'll cover like mid-tier and low-tier VNS devices at another time. Sorry if you didn't make the list. We're just trying to give people the, like, what sits at the highest end, top of the line. You know, it's like, yes, is a Porsche a Lamborghini? Is there, what kind of cars are there? There's lots of different cars. So we're just covering the best of the best. So for right now, but, so main takeaway here is that there are good ultrasound options and there's good electrical options. Some of the other options available to you are going to be vibrotactile stimulation. The Z-Vibe brush is a product that vibrates and you stick it in your ear and it mechanically vibrates your vagus nerve in your ear. That's a very affordable device and it's the only one of its kind. So it's the only one I can make a recommendation for. The other device in that same category is called the Resi Max, and that's quite an expensive device, but it does have the ability to wrap around your neck, stimulate your vagus nerve. You stick it in your mouth. You can induce gagging. It is used for a lot of rehabilitation of like nasal, throat, vagal nerve issues. So that can be an option for people to use. Other non-vibrotactile options would be red light, infrared, pulsed electromagnetic therapy, hyperbaric oxygen also is known to compress your baroreceptors. So the thing that makes hyperbaric oxygen therapy so effective is that it modifies your vagus nerve signals by putting so much pressure on your blood system. But what I've found is that I've had clients who started with ultrasound first, then purchased one of those like very expensive in-home hyperbaric oxygen chambers, and we found that the hyperbaric oxygen didn't offer as many benefits to those who were already using ultrasound at a lesser price. So probably cost-wise, start with ultrasound first, then if you still really want to make the splurge into hyperbaric oxygen therapy at home, then you can do so. But ultrasound has the ability to, again, modulate those same receptors of pressure, because ultrasound induces a pressure wave in your system and can stimulate your vagus nerve in more ways than that. So I would say ultrasound comes first before hyperbaric oxygen should be used. That's my personal opinion. I think that hyperbaric oxygen works mainly on stimulating the vagus nerve. Now, I talked about yesterday that we would talk about non-ultrasound, non-electrical options. We did cover that yesterday. However, I also mentioned I would talk about some, I said yesterday I wouldn't talk about drug-based options. Today I would talk about some of the drug-based options for vagus nerve stimulation. Some of the drug-based options for vagus nerve stimulation are going to be anything that contains acetylcholine boosting agents, okay? So, yeah, Lori, you got it. Don't like that hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I think I think high levels of oxygen can be good for the body. But I think that, again, hyperbaric oxygen, if you're already using something like an ultrasound-based vagus nerve stimulator, hyperbaric is not going to do that much to you, and you'll save yourself a lot of money, because hyperbaric oxygen installed in a house can be like between $12,000 to plus $1,000. So it can be quite expensive to go that route. So probably not a recommendation I can make. If you have the money for it, then shit, go for it. Whatever. Do all this stuff. I mean, throw everything you've got at it if you've got the money for it. But also, I don't see a lot of great things from stem cell therapy either. I see probably better results from ultrasound, vagus nerve stimulation than stem cell stuff. So also another thing to consider. What else? Okay, so as I said, I would talk about drug-based options. Anything that inhibits acetylcholine esterase enzymes is also pro-vagal modulatory from a drug perspective. Okay, so anything that can inhibit acetylcholine esterase enzymes is going to boost acetylcholine. So there's two ways to boost acetylcholine. One is to take choline as a supplement, and then the other is to take huperzine. So you can combine choline, bitartrate, or alpha GPC, etc., with huperzine A to inhibit the breakdown of acetylcholine. Boom. Okay. So the combination of choline, either bitartrate or alpha GPC or other forms of, there's lots of forms of choline. There are more expensive ones and there are cheaper forms, but choline at the end of the day is kind of still just choline. So choline bitartrate is the least harsh on the body. That's the one I would probably recommend for most people starting out. And then huperzine A, which only comes in 200 microgram. So you need to take a very tiny amount of microgram amounts of huperzine A, and that inhibits the enzyme in the synapses of the vagus nerve that breaks down acetylcholine. More acetylcholine means more fuel for your vagus nerve equals more vagal tone, which means your vagus nerve is going to work better. And that's what a lot of these devices are attempting to do. So that's a thing you can do. Lori, you said you've never heard of huperzine A. Never heard of that. Yeah, huperzine A. I'll just spell it out for you in the chat. Huperzine A. It's huperzine A, and it's from a club moss serrata. It's an herbal extract from Chinese club moss. It inhibits the breakdown of acetylcholine, and you only need a very, very, very tiny amount. It's actually very, very bioactive in tiny trace amounts. So you don't need a lot of it to get good results. So I'll also put that here in the chat on YouTube for those wondering. But yeah, basically from a drug perspective, when it comes to vagus nerve stimulation, you really don't need that many things. You don't need to get crazy with it. There's a lot of supplements that you can take that are good for you. Carnitine is a good one. Trace minerals, vitamins, take a multivitamin, whatever. I would say get most of your nutrition from good food, from full food products as much as you can. Take probiotics, take prebiotics, do all that stuff too. Omega oils, vitamin D, vitamin D3, K2. There's lots of stuff you can take, but don't make it super complicated. I would say most multivitamins are going to provide a vast majority of all the things you really truly need. Find a multivitamin that is good for you, that doesn't make you puke, and you'll be fine. But yeah, as far as specific vagus nerve stimulator compounds, another one is called galantamine, and you can take in 4 milligram or 8 milligram tablets or with a dropper. So galantamine is an interesting compound, and that it seems to boost acetylcholine in your brain specifically, and you need to take it right before you go to bed, as it will induce methylene, better than methylene blue. Yeah. Well, galantamine boosts acetylcholine in your brain so much so that it can induce lucid dreams, very vivid and lucid dreams at nighttime. So you can take galantamine before bed, and it works on the vagus nerve, similar to how ultrasound also works on the vagus nerve. So if you were trained properly with ultrasound, you could probably lucid dream if you needed to. So that's something that you could consider. But anyway, galantamine is probably the only other specific vagus nerve specific drug that I could recommend. Now, there are a lot of pharmaceutical drugs that you can probably get access to. A lot of them are going to be like anticholinergics, but they have all kinds of other effects. So it's not something you necessarily want to play around with. Those things typically end up shutting down your vagus nerve. Anything that's an anticholinergic compound is going to harm the function of your vagus nerve. And there are a lot of drugs that are anticholinergic: benzodiazepine, Xanax, anti-anxiety medications, Prozacs, SSRIs. A lot of them have anti-vagal nerve properties. So you don't want to be on these things for a long term, because you could induce like severe inflammatory conditions over time. So you have to be very careful. Anyway, but yeah, to your comment, Lori, I assume you saw my recent post just before I went live on methylene blue, which is that my usage with methylene blue was causing me to projectile vomit every single time I took it, and I took it for about a week just to be sure. But every time I took it, even 10 drops, which is a low amount, that's like the standard dose, I would basically get extremely violently ill and then puke, and then need to like kind of take a nap after that, like, brush my teeth again and eat food again. But even on an empty stomach, it would still make me puke. So I was like, okay, clearly the methylene blue, my body does not like this. I'm not going to take it if my body keeps on hurling up methylene blue. So yeah, it was really fun. A lot of fun to clean up the toilet. It was almost like you have 10 seconds between, oh, I feel really sick, and can you get around the corner to the toilet, kind of thing. So yeah, I wouldn't really recommend methylene blue. That's my recommendation. Everybody's different. I don't know why I responded that way. I just think this stuff tastes nasty. If you just take methylene blue and you put it in your mouth, it not only stains your whole mouth blue, but it just tastes like a nasty chemical. It's not fun to put in your mouth at all. So I mixed it with lots of things. I ate it with food. I had it without food, with just water, with like tea and lemon juice or whatever. You know, it's just not good. Not good. Not good. Don't recommend it. But you can try it. I mean, it was like $29 on Amazon. So I don't know. You know, people take it because it helps with like, apparently it contributes an extra electron to your red blood cells, which makes you have hyperoxygenation, which increases blood flow to your brain. But honestly, I didn't find that there was I found no benefit. If anything, I felt more sluggish on the days I was taking it. I really did feel like kind of shit on the days I took methylene blue. So not for me. Won't be taking it anymore. I don't know what I'll do with the bottle. Honestly, I probably should just throw it away at this point in time. I don't know what I'm going to do with a bottle of blue dye at this point in time. Maybe I have some craft project that I want to stain something deep blue. Although it did get on my countertop, and I had to scrub that countertop for like 5 minutes just to get the blue out of it, like just the ring stain under the cup. So stuff is really pretty intense. So anyway, but yeah. So other than that, I'd say that would be my full list of recommendations for vagus nerve stimulation stuff. All the things that you can do at the top of the list for stimulating your vagus nerve. And I would say lastly, to end off where I started, which would be the best of the best, would be the Project Lotus VNS product. And that's going to be located at the following website. I'll put that here in the chat. Phase 3 join. Here we go. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you can look at that, learn more about that. A lot of stuff is written on that page about what Phase 3 Project Lotus is. This is called Ultrasound Assisted Mindfulness. So this is a whole new field of meditation. I think the best way to stimulate your vagus nerve is probably a combination of ultrasound in the ear and mindfulness meditation in the context of how we've done it. That's all going to be found at vegushub.com/phase3join, because that is our third phase of our programs. Should you not be able to afford to join Phase 3, we also have a Phase 1 and a Phase 2, which are at lesser prices per person. So those could be good options for you, but ultimately, sign up for Phase 3, get that custom in your ultrasound, spring for rush shipping, so you can get that immediately within 30 days of submitting your ear scan, and we'll have that off to you in the quickest time possible. So yeah, other than that, that wraps it up. That's the summary of all of the days for this video for this whole week, and I hope this has been helpful. We're going to end it here on YouTube. Thanks guys so much for watching.